Good night, everybody. I hope that your day wasn't as stressful as it could be. I hope that you were able to enjoy some of today. Happy Thursday to you. As you are settling yourself down for the night, or maybe you're up working a night shift, I hope that you find some moments of solace, some moments where you can have peace, maybe where you don't have to be overly stressed about the circumstances of life. I was reading today and tonight in Matthew, and I just wanted to share this with you. Jesus says in Matthew 6:19, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Then he says, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye then is clear, your body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your body will be full of darkness. And if the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness?" And he says, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." And why do I want to share that? I just thought it was interesting that Jesus said it. Um, Not that it was just a bizarre thing for him to say, but why was he focused on what I would be focused on? Why is he issuing command about that? Why is that this something important for me to hear? He says, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. That's a command. Then he says, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. That's a second command. Do not store up, do store up. And he gives qualifying reasoning for that. He says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And I start to think, well, what do I treasure? What's important to me? What's valuable in my eyes? What am I spending my time and my money on that I may keep? Or you can say, what would devastate me if I lost it? Jesus says, if you store up for yourselves treasures on earth, moth and rust destroy those. Thieves break in and steal those. In other words, they don't last forever. You can't keep them. But he says, don't give yourself to hoard what you can't keep, but give your effort to see to it that you have what will last forever. He says, the treasures in heaven, moth and rust do not destroy, and thieves don't break in or steal. Then he starts talking about the eyes. He says, well, the eye is the lamp of the body. How do we know that? Well, photons come in through our optic lenses. They go into our corneas. The whole light refractory thing and optical sensory response, interpretation by our brains. We call it illumination of sight. You can see with light that comes through our eyes. The eye is the lamp of the body. But he's not talking about physical eyes. I mean, we do know that if someone is blind, they're in trouble. They need help. They need assistance. There's no light on the inside for them. They can't see. They can't see. They can't see something correctly. People have, if you have to wear corrective lenses, you can't see on your own. You need assistance. Your lamp is damaged. But Jesus is talking about something more than physical sight. Truthfully, there was a man who said that God made me blind so that I could see. Or you have the guy, John Newton, who said, I once was blind, now I see. It's funny, when John Newton died, he was physically blind. So he wasn't talking about his physical eyes. He's talking about something way more important. The eyes of your heart, or spiritual eyes. What is he saying? The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is clear, your body will be full of light. If you can see things as they really are, your body or your soul, your being will be full of light, fully illuminated or brilliant. Will be full of light. And biblically, light is life as well. Full of life. If you can see, if your spiritual eyes are clear. And if they're clear, you won't go storing up for yourselves treasures on earth. Things that you can't hold. You see them for what they are. They'll have their proper place in your life. They won't be your treasure. Second thing, if your eye is bad, well, then your body's full of darkness. You can't see the things as they really are. Everything's in wrong order, in disarray. Why? Because the inside is darkness, deep darkness, and darkness really goes a long way. You look at the world we live in; it is dark, and if the light that's in you is darkness, one, you don't know how great it is, but it's really great. It is not just that you go storing up for yourself things that don't matter. It's that you treasure them. And why do you treasure them? Because you treasure the wrong thing. You treasure what isn't going to last forever, what is not truly valuable. Because there's darkness on the inside. You chase after what's not valuable because there's darkness on the inside. Jesus goes on to say, no one can serve two masters. Now that's an interesting thing. And you can think, oh yeah, he's talking about God and the devil. No, he's not talking about that. He says, you cannot serve God and wealth. Now, love of wealth, root of all evil. And something that Jesus says, the love of wealth. There are people who say things like, well, no, money's the root of all evil. No, he's saying, no, the love of it's the root of all evil. The love of it, treasuring it, cherishing it, that's the root of all evil. Look at the world we live in. It spins on the treasuring, the loving of money, of the serving of that master. Service as if this is the one you love, to the point where you say, I give all of myself in submission to you. My purpose for living is to satisfy you. Serving money, serving wealth, or you could say serving the world and its ways. Serving worldly things, serving mammon. It's the transliteration there. You can't serve two masters. He's not talking to the world here. He's not talking to everyone else. He's particularly talking to those who have believed on Jesus, those who have come by faith to him. God has saved you. Saint, it's as if he's stopping you in your tracks, tapping you on the shoulder. Listen up. As you know, Jesus says He who has ears to hear, let him hear. He's saying, listen to this. For you do not store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Store up for yourselves, no, sorry, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. Store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. And he talks about, check your eyes. Eyes, lamp of the body. And he says, no one can serve two masters. You either hate the one, love the other, be devoted to the one, and despise the other. Which master do you serve? That should be rhetorical. The answer is you serve Jesus. We serve the living God. Our God is not wealth, or our God is not the world and his desires. 1 John 2:15, he says this. Do not love the world or the things in the world. For if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that's in the world, the lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, does not come from the Father, but is from the world. And the world and its desires are passing away, but he who does the will of my Father abides forever. We can go on and talk about something that Jesus said later. At the end of the chapter, he talks about reasons for a Christian for you not to worry. Jesus says, do not be worried about your life so as to what you will eat, what you will drink, what will you put on your body, what will you wear for clothing. And he asks some questions. He says, is not life more than clothing, and the body more than food? Then he draws to nature. He says, look at the birds of the sky. They don't sow or reap or gather in the barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more valuable than they? And he says, and why are you worrying about clothes? Look at the grass of the field, the flower of the field, how beautiful it is. And he says, Solomon, the great, majestic king from a long time ago, son of David, he, in all his glory, wasn't even arrayed like one of these. Yet this is here today and tomorrow thrown into the furnace. Are you not much more valuable than they? Then he says, he gives a loving rebuke. He says, you of little faith. When you are consumed with the necessitation of this life, I'm not saying that it's not important that you work and all. You do all those things. You pay your bills. You take care of things. But the thing is, if what has your heart is the having of this world, or in another way, if you are so consumed with worry for how are you going to survive, then you're not trusting that God will take care of the details. Doesn't mean you go quit your job now, I'm going to be homeless. No, not saying that at all. But where is your heart, and where is your trust? Here, Jesus is talking about trust. What's the opposite of worry? Trust. Before, he was talking about love. What's the most important thing? Is it to love and chase after this world? No. It's to give yourself to God. What's the most important thing? For you to spend your days making sure you have food, shelter, and clothes? No. Jesus says, the nations of the world, i.e. the Gentiles, they chase after this. They chase after the world. The nations chase after this. Look at the way the world is now. It's as controversial as this is. You look at the pandemic, the way that it's affected the world. Everyone's afraid they're going to get the COVID virus. It is a devastating virus. Nobody wants to get that. Safety is a very important thing, But think about it. The world running around trying to make sure that they survive, make sure that they can live just a few hours longer in this transient life. There, Jesus is saying, he says, don't worry about this. Your Father in heaven knows you need all these things. God knows what you need. He knows it before you even ask it. But he tells you what you should be concerned with. It's not just that he's saying don't worry about anything. That's not what he's saying. He's saying appropriate your concern or your focus or the issuance of your life to the right focal point. It shouldn't be the sustainment of your life. The focus of your life should be the kingdom of God and his righteousness. He says, seek first his kingdom of preeminence, of supremacy, of first importance, of priority, of urgency. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Dante, when you wake up in the morning, seek first his kingdom. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those. All of the whole prayer, if you look at the Lord's Prayer, the prayer that he taught his disciples, the first solicitation, or you could say the first request was, hallowed be your name, and everything else builds to that, or you can say is subservient to that. May your kingdom come, may your will be done, that your name be hallowed. Give us this day our daily bread, that we may be doing your will on earth as it is in heaven, so your name will be hallowed. Which means so that you will be seen as you really are, respected, regarded as holy, that you won't be defamed, that you won't be dishonored, that in my life and in this world you will receive the glory that's due your name. The ultimate goal of all history is the glory of God. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Particularly to you, Christian person, make sure you don't lose that. Don't lose the most important thing. He saved you for his glory. Your heart is new. You don't belong to the world anymore. You belong to Jesus. Give yourself for the glory of the one who gave his life for you, which means make sure that the beat of your heart is that you may bring him honor. Set your face to the glory of God. And I don't mean the ambiguous, weird, heady way that a lot of professing Christians talk. We say, oh yeah, I'm doing this for the glory of God, and we're lying. I'm just saying, seek his face and reflect his face. Do his will. Seek his will. Pursue his will. Seek after it hard. And obey him. Love him. Show him you love him with everything you got. Seek his face. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. All these things will be added to you. He'll take care of all those details. So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own.